Welcome back. Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is railing against big tech. Again, this time she has perhaps more reason than normal. Twitter permanently suspended her personal account over what it calls repeated violations of their COVID misinformation policy. But the Georgia lawmaker's congressional account remains active. Greene says social media giants are now deciding what political speech of elected members of Congress is accepted and what's not. Twitter's move provoked more outcry from the right to break up big tech or at least step up regulations. Tony Katz, radio host from Indianapolis and hater normally of all things regulation and breaking up, joins us. Now, I love it. Republicans are just thrashing Biden over going after the meat industry and regulating it or breaking up, but can't wait to regulate or break up big tech.
I'm not 100% sure that's the case. And I think it's like this kind of all-purpose catch-all kind of term. The problem is they don't know what they're breaking up. When you watch any congressional panel, House or Senate, engage conversations with the tech industry, they constantly embarrass themselves. They don't quite understand, I shouldn't say don't quite, they don't understand what these tech guys actually do. They don't understand how deep and how thorough the tentacles are. So when they talk about breaking things up, whether it's a Republican or whether it's somebody like Senator Elizabeth Warren, they don't know what they're saying. They don't know what it is they would actually break up. What they need to be discussing is why it is that these tech giants feel the need to side only with one political party, get into the idea that there's only one train of thought that's acceptable. These tech companies should be excoriated.
Tony, is this really what Congress should be spending its time on? These are private industries. Hallmark of conservative values is that the free market could solve this problem. If there was really this market for sort of wild and crazy theories about COVID, wouldn't there be a platform that people could share those thoughts on and there would be a market for it so it would be monetized and we could all go about our business?
The argument is not that there should be more platforms and the political right should be putting their money into more platforms, just like there's Rumble, just like there's Getter, which you can find me at Tony Katz on both of those places. But there should be an argument that is made by Americans, especially elected officials, regardless of party, that we believe in free speech when doctors are not allowed to give their political opinion or their medical opinion. It's a problem.
Tony, First Amendment of the Constitution. Congress shall pass no law abridging, among other things, freedom of speech. In the First Amendment, in free speech doesn't say anything about private companies. How can you compare the two?
I don't make the argument, like I started with, that they would even know how to break these companies up. And as I said, they should be engaging a full repudiation of what these companies are doing. I don't think you can break them up, but you should be clear and focused and utilizing your bully pulpit. Twitter is wrong and YouTube is wrong, and good on Senator Paul for leaving YouTube. Yeah. These places aren't believers in free speech. Representative Pramila Jayapal just yesterday said that what Twitter did on Marjorie Taylor Greene is good, but too little too late. She favors removing people from Twitter. I am not a Marjorie Taylor Greene fan, but I don't think she should be silenced in any way. Yeah, well, that's the issue.
Yeah, there's the great line. I may disagree with what you say. I'll defend to my death your right to say it. You say about calling out the hypocrisy of Twitter. Jim Jordan tweeted, banned from Twitter, American Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, still on Twitter, the Taliban, among others, the Ayatollah in Iran. You said something interesting about how it's pretty much one-sided. Why is that, you think?
Because we have decided in America, I should say they have decided, that there's only one acceptable narrative. There's only one acceptable narrative on COVID, for example, when of course that's not true. There's only one acceptable narrative and they would have you believe on the environment when that's not true. There's only one acceptable narrative on education when that's not true. We need more voices in the sphere, and you have to let ideas, even the bad ideas, come to the surface so you can decide whether they're good or bad ideas.
Wouldn't Republicans be better off, though, saying, look, we're going to just boycott Twitter and all of our followers, all of Tony Katz's followers, all of Jim Jordan's followers, and all of Joe Rogan's followers? Yeah, he says he's getting on Getter. Wouldn't Republicans be better off saying, look, we're going to boycott Twitter altogether. We're going to move to this other platform, and we're going to prove to Twitter that if they don't reopen our accounts, that they're going to lose all the revenue?
but they've also gone so far as to remove certain businesses from opportunities. We saw this with the Heroes for Liberty, Bethany Mandel's group on advertising books on Facebook. Facebook said, yes, we'll take your money, and then wouldn't allow them to serve the ads. This is obscene stuff that we're seeing, and certainly is un-American. If we want to discuss the First Amendment as you want to, and I certainly will agree, you have to let people speak. Understand that Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, these aren't good, decent people. These are bad people. These are the totalitarians, the authoritarians. There's no other way to see it. And we should have elected officials who all stand together and say no.
Yeah, well, if that happens, Tony, we'll leave it there. Always good to chat. Glad you ate your Wheaties over the New Year's break. We're glad to have you back. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.